Do you have somebody in your life that you look up to as a bit of a mentor or a role model? What would happen one day if you saw them losing their in public and maybe just having a tantrum or just kind of coming unhinged? Would it scare you, or would you sit back and realize that, hey, they're only human? Hi, my name is K.A Bloch, and I'm the award winning poet and author of 4 books that consist of poetry and prose. My channel is called The Practical Poet, and each week on my channel, I feature a different video poetry reading from one of my 4 books or even some new material. And I also have a blog of the same name at thepracticalpoet.com. Recently on my channel, I've been talking a little bit about role models. And a couple weeks ago, there was a day, one of those national days, and it was National Set a Good Example Day. And, that's something that we should probably be doing every day. But, we sometimes don't. Sometimes we're not the best example. Sometimes we do lose our, what, in public, or we come a bit unhinged. And we're only human, like I mentioned. But the problem with that, and it's not even really a problem, but the negative about that is a lot of times there's people watching us, and there's people watching how we respond to different situations, especially if you're somebody who is in a bit of a leadership role, if you have employees, or especially if you're around young and impressionable people. Maybe you lead a youth group, or you are around children, and they see you kind of having a really bad day and coming a little bit unhinged. It can be scary, especially if you really hold this person in high regard. Think about if you see somebody become unhinged, it makes you feel like, why should you stay calm if this person isn't calm? Like, if this person is really nervous or worried or upset about something, we all should probably be nervous and upset, right? It's like when I fly, and I don't fly super often, so I'm not the most experienced flyer. But if I get really nervous, if something doesn't feel right with the plane, or there's a lot of turbulence, or a lot of weird noise that maybe I'm not sure what it is, I'll look to the flight attendants and I'll see how they're responding. They do this every day. They've probably heard it all, seen it all, been through it all. And if they look calm, and they're just, passing their drinks around and going up and down the aisles like an average day, then that calms me down. Now, if I was to look over and they were, white knuckling the seat, holding on for dear life, or they started screaming, we'd have a whole plane full of people that would probably start screaming as well. So it is important to keep that in mind, that if we are in a situation, if we're at a store and maybe we the cashier isn't giving us what we want, or there's some kind of a discrepancy with our bill or something like that, and we start to lose our cool, and we start to escalate, and we start to raise our voice a little bit, there's always going to be somebody that's watching. And nowadays everybody has their camera at the ready. They're ready to pull that camera out and to start filming. And my first actually my second book was called Scatter Seeds of Kindness. So I never want to be that person that's caught on somebody's camera and posted on social media, that somebody who authored a book with the word kindness in the title has lost her shit in public. But really, I mean, that's not the only reason. It's, don't be a jerk. Try to be kind to people, and try to resolve situations without them escalating, and be that good role model for maybe somebody that is watching. I mentioned earlier that a couple of my recent videos have talked about role models, and a few weeks ago I did one called Stereotypes. It has a subtitle of Crazy Cat Lady, and that has to do with kind of living your life outside of those stereotypes that society puts on us, living your life on your terms, and kind of giving that proverbial middle finger to society and saying, this is my life and I'm going to live it the way I want. And the thing about that is, people that are struggling with society's rules, maybe they don't fit in, maybe they just feel like they're a square peg in a round hole, and they're becoming a bit of an outcast. They may see how you are kind of bucking the trends, and how you're kind of bucking society, and saying, this is my life and I'm going to do it on my terms, and society and rules be damned. And that might inspire them, that might encourage them to kind of live their life the way that they want to. And my video poetry reading last week was called Earning My Wings, and that has to do with all of those good deeds and those good gestures that we do here on earth, that hopefully will give us a little bit of goodwill when it's time for us to step into the onto the other side, when it's time for us to depart this world. Maybe we'll have a little bit of goodwill on our side because we did some good things. And again, people may witness us doing those good deeds, and that may inspire them to, hold the door for somebody, or to do a kind deed for somebody, or to volunteer, or to somehow pay it forward. And hopefully, that's something that other people will take note of as well. So we always have that. I don't want to call it a responsibility, because it's not. We don't want to put that on our shoulders. We don't have to consciously think about it. Like, when I think of responsibility, I kind of think of like a job, or like something like a burden almost that I have to do. And it shouldn't be a burden. It should just be something that comes naturally. It shouldn't be a job. It should just be something that we do because that's just the kind of person that we are. And just by being that good natured person, and that person that is willing to help out, that that is who we are. That's our character. And again, hopefully, somebody that's watching us will take note of that. And God forbid, if our life does crumble, if things start to go really downhill, and we find ourselves in a really bad situation, how we handle that situation is another good show of our strength. And if we are strong, we hold our head high, even in moments of adversity, or challenges, and other people see us do that as well. If and when, and hopefully it doesn't, but if their life falls apart at some point, maybe they'll reflect back to how you handled yourself in your most challenging situations. And they'll put their shoulders back and lift their head up, and they'll say, I got this, because they saw that you handled it, and they want to kind of emulate your behavior. And people are always looking to emulate behavior of those that they admire. Children are looking to their older brothers and sisters to kind of model their behavior. And then when they get into school, we're always looking to those upperclassmen to show us around, and to show the ropes, and to kind of see how they respond and how they behave. And then we get into college, and same thing. When we get into the workforce, we are the new people, and we're looking around at how other people handle it. How they handle their day-to-day jobs and stuff. And, we want to learn the norms and the cultures of the company that we're in. And so we're always looking to people to see how they handle themselves, and, how they deal with their day-to-day life. And it's nice when people look to us as that person that they want to emulate. That's a humongous compliment. That's one of the best compliments that you can ever receive, is somebody saying, I watched you do this, and I really liked how you did that, and I want to do it as well. I really can't think of a better compliment. So I'm going to go ahead and get into the video poetry reading shortly. One thing I mentioned in here, there's a line that's repeated over and over, and it says, keep on smiling even as you hit the ground. And the reason that line came to be was a woman that she was always smiling, and she had a lot of challenges. She had some health issues. She had some family situations. Her job was not great, but she was always smiling. And I said, how do you maintain that great attitude? And her response was, it could always be worse. And she's like, life may knock me down, but I'm going to smile all the way down. And I kind of took that, and I thought, what a great lesson, because even if you are knocked down, at some point you're going to get up, and you may have dirt in your teeth and mud on your face, and maybe that smile has shrunk back a little bit, but you're going to get up. And people that are watching you are going to see you get back up. And again, going back to that, emulating you, and seeing your strength in the most challenging times, and in times of adversity. They may pick up on that, and they may remember that, and they may tuck it in the back of their memory bank. And like I mentioned, if their life turns one day, and I hope it doesn't, but if it does, they may remember how you handled your challenging moments, and they may find the strength to handle theirs the same way. So I'm going to go ahead and get into this video poetry reading of role models. A quick sip of tea. It's a nice, lovely day here, sunny, it's colder though today. It's about 40-ish. So not great, but nice sip of warm tea. And then I'm going to go ahead and put my glasses on. And Role Models is the poem. Again, it is from I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, from my latest book called Sow Seeds of Wisdom. And this poem is called Role Models. And just again, keeping in mind that, people are always watching. And even if life does knock us down, we want to get back up and just keep going on, because what choice do we have, really, right? So Here we go, role models. This is a bit of a longer poem. And by the way, if you don't want to stick around for the video poetry reading, this poem in written form can be found on my blog, and that is called thepracticalpoet.com. And look for the poem Role Model under the blogs tab. And you can also find links to all my books under the books tab on the same website, practicalpoet.com. So here we go, the video poetry reading of Role Models. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And yet I've often found the things that do not kill you can still knock you to the ground. And when you're knocked onto the ground and staring at the dirt, it's not the strength you focus on. Your thoughts turn to the hurt. When you are staring at the ground, you may not realize that you cannot see clearly through the dirt that's in your eyes. It's only when you rub your eyes and open them up wide that you can rise up to your knees and begin to heal inside. You can gain back that hopefulness you thought for sure you'd lost. It's a valuable lesson to learn, but it comes at such a cost. So it's important to remember that when life knocks you down, try to keep on smiling even as you hit the ground. When the day is stretched before you, but it's filled with gloom and doom, when you want to open up your heart, but you cannot find the room, when your legs don't want to hold you because too much weight is bearing down, make sure to keep on smiling even as you hit the ground. When the sky is filled with dark clouds and you cannot see the light, when you need to toughen up your stance but can't handle the fight, when the punches keep on coming and you keep taking it on the chin, when frustration keeps on building and bravado's wearing thin, when it takes way too much effort to turn that smile around, be sure to keep on smiling even as you hit the ground. Because the people who look up to you and have watched you all along will take note of how you handle life and if you're brave and strong. For even in the wilderness, an animal won't display its weakness to an enemy, so it doesn't become its prey. Even if injured, the creature puts forth a brave veneer until the enemy has moved on without sensing its fear. And a tree within the forest, with its leaves so plush and green, will not reveal if its branches have decay in between. That tree will still stand tall and proud upon that forest floor, even if disease has made it rotten to the core. For if we stand back in troubled times and see the strongest among us cave, it may weaken our own resolve to move forward and be brave. So we keep that strength intact so that others we may inspire and show that hope still exists, even when things seem dire. Others may feed upon our strength, even as they see us stumble. So we try to set that good example and do our best not to crumble. So we smile as we hit the ground and brush the dirt from our eyes so that when we pull ourselves back up, we're still smiling as we rise. And others who are watching the strength that we display may draw some inspiration when hard times come their way. So that was the video poetry reading of Role Models. I stumbled a little bit on one of the verses. I really do apologize. Again, you can find the written version of the poem on my blog and maybe see the couple areas that I stumbled over. But again, the poem talks a little bit about the strong people in our society, and not even people, the strong things in our society. The tree, think about the mighty oak in the forest. It stands so tall and proud and looks so beautiful and amazing, but we don't know what's going on the inside of that tree, right? It could be rotten to the core. It could have decay on the inside and it could tumble tomorrow. But while we're looking at it today, we're thinking, wow, what a beautiful stance that tree has, and like I mentioned in the poem, an animal in the wilderness, if they're sick or they're injured, they try not to display that because that makes them weak and that makes them prey to another animal. So they try to put on that brave front, that brave veneer, so that they don't become somebody else's prey. So it's all about kind of keeping up that brave facade, so that you are a good role model for people and that may be watching. And if you do see, like the poem mentions, if we see the strongest among us cave, it does make us scared. It does make us nervous. If you're a parent and you have little children and you lose it one day, it's scary to them. They run and hide. I did that one time, even with my cats. I was mad at something and I threw something across the room and I shouted out, And my little kitten Clover, she ran away and she hid, and she didn't come out for a long time, and I really had to coax her. I mean, God, I didn't do anything to hurt her, please, but just my raised voice and the fact that I threw something, not at her, but just across the room, was enough to make her run from me, and she saw me crumble a little bit, and it scared her. And I have to say, don't do that. She's too important to me, and they're all too important to me, and to scare them like that. So I try to keep that in mind when I feel like I'm getting over the edge, to just breathe and smile, and try to keep other people's interests in mind. We often get inside our own head, and our own emotions take over, but maybe we need to be more aware of what we're projecting out into the world, and what other people are picking up on, and make sure that it's good and positive things that they're picking up on, and hopefully they will pass that good and positive sentiment on to other people, especially if in tough times, and be a role model to somebody else. So with that, I'm going to leave you. It is, like I mentioned, a nice day. Maybe go outside, take a little bit of a walk. I hope that you have a very nice rest of your day. Again, if you want to read the written copy along with a little bit of the backstory of role models, it is on my blog at thepracticalpoet.com. You can also hit the like and subscribe button if you want to be notified when I do my weekly video poetry reading. And with that, I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll chat soon. Thanks. Bye.